We already know that parentheses are used to add extra detail or clarification to a sentence, and that they may be held in place by a pair of commas, brackets, or dashes. So how do we know which to use and when? Well, let's take a look. Here's a sentence that uses brackets to hold the parenthesis in place. Tim Peake, born 1972, is a British astronaut. Let's start by double checking that the parenthesis has been punctuated correctly. Remember, the sentence should still make sense, even if the parenthesis is ignored. Tim Peake is a British astronaut. Well, that sounds fine, so the punctuation is in the correct place. So why have we chosen to use brackets here rather than commas or dashes? Well, there are two reasons. The first is to do with how important the additional information is. In this sentence, his year of birth isn't really important to the fact that he's an astronaut, so brackets have been used. In fact, they're an ideal choice when adding simple facts, such as dates of birth. When we use brackets to punctuate a parenthesis, the flow of our sentence is halted slightly. If this is the intention, then brackets are a great choice. But what if we wanted our sentence to flow more smoothly? Well, we could use commas instead. Tim Peake, born in 1972, is a British astronaut. Notice how this time our additional information is not written in a note form, but instead includes the word in, born in 1972. This helps the parenthesis to flow as part of the whole sentence. It feels less like an afterthought, more like it's part of the original idea. So if we want to maintain the flow of our sentence, we should use commas. Okay, what about dashes? When are these used to punctuate a parenthesis? Well, these work much like brackets, where the extra information breaks the flow of the main sentence. But dashes make the parenthesis stand out from the sentence even more than brackets. They break the flow of the sentence even more, so they're used with really important extra detail that we wish to highlight to the reader. Take this as an example. Tim Peake, pioneering British astronaut, grew up in a small village on the south coast. So why have we used dashes here rather than brackets? Well, we could use brackets and it would still be grammatically correct, but as the writer, I wanted to emphasise the fact that he's now an astronaut, even though he grew up in a normal village. Dashes help make the parenthesis leap out of the sentence. The reader has no chance of ignoring it, which can be the case with brackets. So, pairs of commas, brackets and dashes are used to punctuate parentheses. Use commas when you want to maintain the flow of the sentence. Use brackets for any extra detail that stands outside of the main sentence, but isn't really that important. In fact, it could be ignored by the reader altogether. This could include dates of birth, or the page number in a book, for example. Finally, use a pair of dashes when you want to completely break the flow of the sentence, and force your reader to focus on the extra information.